All right, welcome to the third part of onboarding and retention optimizer framework, Nudge, and this is the dope section. All right, this is where the things come together for you. So, what happens in the nudge? So, basically, nudge. You know what nudge is? Giving a nudge. So, you that is why it's like you fingering someone and just to get the attention you have done a lot to your friends or close ones, so you nudge them to point them to a direction that you want to happen. All right, so you have nudged your parents, you have nudged your partners, you have nudged your kids not to eat ice creams, so you have done that, and you would see over here like how you can use nudge to have that human behavior, handhold your customers and get on to uh, have them on your platform. All right. So this is nudge. All right. With that, let's look at how does a nudge process looks like. So before you start the nudge process, so this will take a lot of a good amount of time from you because it involves a lot of thinking that would go into it. So what would the nudge process would feel like? So first is you take insights. So now you already have set up the tracking mechanism. You have looked at the churn versus retain. You have looked at all the metrics that are ready. So now is the nudge process. Like you take insights, number one, number two, and depending upon those insights, you nudge them. All right. So this is now step number one. I've kept the resources over in the section called nudge resources. You would have this over here, and that number one is insights tracking. So, for example, what was the observations that you gathered? So this is a sheet where you would put over there, like, for example, how did your churn users behave? How did your retain users behave? What was an anomaly that you found? What were the things that you believe to be true but not true? What were the things that you believe to be you had a hunch on and were correct? So create write everything down based on the dashboards that you see, based on the analysis that you do, and prepare the entire list. All right. So observations. Why do you think this is an insight on an anomaly? What are the learnings from it? And then you can set up a growth experiment to see how to increase or decrease to a certain extent depending upon that. All right. So this is step number one, insights tracking. Set up your insights, identify your insights. All right. With that, let's look at the next step. So what happens once you have set up your insights, when you have done your product funnel flows, when you have understand like what are the benchmarks right now, what happens next? A nudge mechanism is basically, it can be multi-channel, or some people prefer it to be a single channel called email. Majority of them try to keep it email, but depending upon what the kind of approach that you want to take, you can take any kind of approach. That totally depends upon being much more contextual at that point and delivering it. All right. So there are so many ways to reach out to your customers, like email marketing, in-app notification, mobile push notification, retargeting ads to a certain extent. So for example, Spotify to a certain extent might be doing that. So they might be looking at it and retargeting you to come back to there. And maybe if you are a paid user and not a paid user anymore, they might be targeting you through ads. So B2C SaaS apps might can pick this up because that gives you the leverage over them. So even B2B can pick it up. So content. Content can be another way to provide a nudge, and SMS, phone call, and sometimes calling them and getting them onto the interview is again a nudge mechanism depending upon the impact that you want to have. All right, so we've seen a lot of onboarding companies or We've seen a lot of on SaaS companies having this step where if a person signs up, a call goes in the next 48 hours. So this is again a mechanism that totally depends upon how do you want to structure it. All right. There is no one correct method. There is no one method that says, okay, if you do this, it works. It depends upon the kind of product that you're running and what is the kind of expected from there. So if there might be, if your audience is someone that wants a phone call, you give them a phone call, right? So that would be much more better. It, understand that, for example, there are a lot of apps, SaaS applications, maybe for uh, plumbing or those kind of industries. They may or may not be very active on email, but they are active on SMS, they're active on phone call. So this is how you can read them and provide that nudge. So in develop the nudge mechanism, what you are essentially doing, this I've learned from Robert Scrobb. What you're doing, basically, you're creating a 100 days communication plan. All right. So this is the plan worksheet that you give. So you typically say about day one, if they send a get a welcome email. So this is how you fill up like day one, day five, day 10, up day 100, and what do you do based upon the kind of contextualized SMS or nudge that you send. For example, if they sign up and they don't do anything after this, how do you bring it back? So if they have an app installed or if they have mobile app installed, day five, if they have not come back, send out a communication to them. Uh, Day 60, maybe give a phone call to them. So 100 days, you might have seen in a lot of OTTs or TV series that, or you might even know if you follow politics, like 100 days for an American president is very important because that's the first 100 days in the office. Similarly, the first 100 days of the customer with your application is very important. So do take it in that manner and prepare a 100 days communication plan, like how you're going to communicate with them at what step. All right, so these are the two sheets, these are the two steps that we do it. And depending upon this, now I would after this I would also tell you the case study. You would see in the case study like how to actually one company implemented this and what kind of results that they get. So this is where move on to the next step, iterate. So before, thank you for taking our time and listening to Nudge. This is going to take a lot of your time because you are going to like design it. So Nudge is something that you're going to spend a majority of your time on, and it comes through iteration. It won't come through in one go. All right. So keep at it. All the best. And what you're going to see next is like how you're going to iterate on this. All right. So with that, thank you. See you in the next section.